Well, we're now joined by the management of Dr. Reddy's. We have Archana joining in for the interview as well. Mr. Mukherjee joins in to talk about the numbers this quarter. Mr. Mukherjee, hi. Thanks very much for joining in and congratulations on what has been a well-maintained quarter for you all this time. Can you start by taking us through Russia? Because the decline was, just about curtailed to a 9% decline on a year-on-year basis. Can you just tell us what the on-ground situation was? And what is your expectation going forward? Do you think that the currency devaluation that we've seen is more or less factored in terms of your on-ground operations?
So I think it's indeed a tough time in Russia, although we have done very well. I think the volume growth in local currency term has been volume growth has been very good. In terms of local currency, we have grown by about 30% in Russia, which has mitigated to a large extent the impact of the devaluation of the currency. Having said that, the whole thing has not fully played out because there's some hedges which will run out by end of the year, and probably next year we'll get a little larger hit, but the market overall, I think we are doing quite well in terms of units, as I said, and which plays out in terms of mitigating part of the negative because of the currency fallout.
Okay. So would that mean that Russia will continue to decline going into next quarter, and maybe it could show a steeper decline than what you posted this quarter? Is that how we should read it?
Okay, constant currency term, it's very difficult to arrest the downfall. The ruble, which used to be in the range of 33, 34 to a dollar, is somewhere in the 60s, and it's a massive change. Of course, to a certain extent, we are naturally hedged because it's a branded market and all the front-end costs are in local currency. To that extent, we are to a certain extent hedged, but that doesn't take away the whole impact. The thing which we will be looking forward to is robust growth in our business and some, case-to-case price corrections in non-essential items, which we'll have to take. So with that, we'll try and manage, but certainly this is going to be a little challenging period overall, but we are encouraged with our own performance in the market, compared to a lot of other competitors.
Mr. Mukherjee, let me talk about the rest of the world markets as well. 82% growth is what you've reported on a year-on-year basis. Is Venezuela contributing a lot more, and what have been the other growth drivers in this market?
So, yes, Venezuela has done extremely well. There are risks in this market, but any risk is accompanied with opportunities, as in life. And I think we are doing the best of the opportunities at the moment in Venezuela because the brands are well accepted. There are a lot of companies who are nervous in terms of the country and the way it is panning out. We think that since our medication is for the patients and will continue to sort of deliver, we are backward integrated, and hence our supply chain is well placed, and we stay committed to the country. 22nd of January, Mr. Maduro mentioned that food and pharma would probably fall in one category of currency exchanges. In Venezuela there are three different rates of currency, so this would remain in one specific, and the fact that food and pharma is clubbed in one group, we take that as a positive. We stay committed to the country. Having said that, there are risks and there are challenges.
Okay. So would this growth rate be sustainable in the coming quarters? Just a quick comment on that.
Yeah, there is opportunity. The biggest risk, and it's not about the market. I think we are very well placed in the market. There is enough demand. What we will have to calibrate and think of our the actions in the market based on what they call is the Khedive approval in terms of dollar repatriation. So those we'll watch that very closely.
Okay. So, I wanted to touch upon the India growth because that's been quite firm in the past 3 quarters, but there was a little bit of a disappointment in terms of the slowdown of the growth rate this quarter to 11%. What happened this quarter in India, and what is your trajectory in terms of percentage growth coming in possibly the next quarter and the next 6 months?
So what happens is in India market by nature, some of the billing gets done towards the end of the month, the way stockists take material. That's the nature of the market. By our accounting principles, it gets into a cutoff. And hence, so we have a relatively large cutoff which is not reported in this quarter. There is no change. The growth is robust. I think the year we will exit, in mid-teens growth, which is not too bad.
Okay. Sir, just moving away from the earnings, wanted to concentrate on a couple of other issues which might be pertinent to your US growth going forward. Can you give us a sense in terms of where the US FDA Form 483 or the observations stand at the Srikakulam plant as of now? Have you heard back from the US? Have you replied and when do you anticipate to hear back from the US FDA? And secondly, any sort of, any clarity on when you could get approvals for Diovan generic as well as maybe for Nexium?
Sure. Okay. So the audit was sometime in November, and within the stipulated period, we responded. I think we responded quite comprehensively to the various observations by FDA. There were 9 observations. Most of it is in public domain, and we answered all that by mid-December. And it takes some time for FDA to go through the observations and then respond with further questions and decide the course of action. So we are in that situation as we speak. As in most audits which go through, there are always these observations have to be also responded with a series of action points with specific dates, and we are in the process of giving the first update on some of those. And I think we are responding and progressing in the right direction. But beyond that, we can't comment because it's in the hand of regulators. As far as the approvals are concerned, yes, Diovan, till this issue is resolved, will not get approval. It's a very crowded launch, and I'm not sure whether we'll get back on this. But yeah, on Nexium I can't really comment because this is not a date-specific approval. The file is under review, and let's see which comes, how it progresses.
Mr. Mukherjee, just a quick question. Would the Health Canada import ban be any sort of an impact on the earnings going forward in the coming quarters? Just a very quick comment on that before we wrap up.
No, because we hardly have any business in Canada, and this would not have any material impact, and we have complied with whatever was the request.
All right, Mr. Mukherjee, thanks a lot for sparing time and giving us this perspective on the geographical performance of the company in Q3. That was the management of Dr. Reddy's talking about the numbers.